Hi, everybody. Jack O'Malley with you back on a Monday here after a week off, sort of. Something I want to clarify there. But it's good to be back with you. I did take a couple of days and got to have some time with my wife, which is important because this job, I'm in Lansing most of the week. Come home and I'm doing district things, whether it be Zoom and I'm in here in my little cubbyhole bunker, or like today, I actually got out and got to meet some people. I met some representatives of the farming community to talk ag issues. Then I toured the Mason County Road Commission just to hear how my district's doing, plus how are we doing on our local roads. And I posted that picture, and I'll tell you what, you put pictures of puppies up there, and somebody's going to be ragging on you for not working hard enough or doing what they want. I posted that up. Why don't you do more to stop the governor? Well, pardon me. On that topic, we are working it. We're doing everything we can legally. There are certain rules with the Department of Health and Human Services that we've attempted to alter, but the governor vetoes them, right? So some of this stuff, I hate to tell you, but to just be honest with you, some of this stuff ain't going to happen until we have a Republican Senate, Republican House, and a Republican governor. Because Governor Whitmer ain't going to sign none of this stuff. But we have to fight and work within the laws. So that's part of this. But yeah, so last week I took some time off, but it was funny reading some of the comments because we still posted on things. I knew that the UP Energy Task Force report was coming. So we were prepared. We had talked to people who knew about it. And so that when it happened, we were able to put out a press release. That's what you do. You even though you take time off, unfortunately, you're never really far from this job. Why? Because it is a job that is always moving, lots of people. There's lots of plates spinning here. And, if you focus on one plate, as important as that plate is, all the other plates that are spinning are important to people too. And if you don't keep them all spinning, they start crashing to the ground. So you cannot be this one focused individual to be a good state representative or senator. So as much as I understand the anger of, why aren't you working harder on the governor? Other plates are spinning, and we've got to keep them moving so that when we finally do get to this other side, we're not in a total shambles. Okay? All right. Let's see here. What else can I throw at you? Yeah, I've had some people, some parents ask me about high school testing for COVID for sports. Some comments from folks at the MHSAA. It's a necessary evil. The Department of Health and Human Services mandates it. To get the kids back on the field, it has to be done. One of the things that I've heard from some folks associated with the MHSAA is if you do have a question, you do an issue, talk to your school's athletic director, okay? Because they either have an answer for you or may be able to get a clarification, or maybe you can modify a little something. There is a little bit of leeway there. So before you freak out, talk to your athletic director, okay? Or call my office and we'll try to help you as we can. But like I said, until we can get those orders changed and those rules changed for Health and Human Services, MHSAA is kind of in a stuck spot here. And by doing those testing, it did get them back on the field. Now, I know that the parents group is suing. We may see what's going to happen, but just an FYI update on that. Let's talk. Okay, I'm going to save elections for last. It was interesting. One of the things that during the COVID height last year was the governor and some of the state folks said that there was a systemic bias in our healthcare field against people of color. And I thought that was a massive slap in the face to these men and women who take an oath to save lives. But it was said. And one of the reasons it was said was because there was some statistics that said more blacks and people of color were dying of COVID. And I thought, well, that kind of sort of makes sense because Southeast Michigan, which has a heavier minority population, was heaviest hit. So it just seemed logical to me that more people of color might pass because they were hit so hard, right? Well, I guess that didn't make sense to the governor and her people because they went on with this report. Well, Henry Ford Hospital now has done a study. Granted, it's only one, but more will be coming. And they said the belief was that race played a factor in hospital stay and death. The study found that was not true. And I remember reporting on this very update that at one point, I think it was August or September of last year, the number of deaths for people of color was higher, but those with white caught up. And again, that made sense. Southeast Michigan was heavily hit. Then the COVID moved to other parts of the state, and the numbers caught up. So I really question that, and especially because it was, I think, a slap in the face to the men and women of the medical field who swear to save lives. So we'll see. But Henry Ford Hospital says, no, we looked at our ICUs and our this and that, and that they did not see that. So interesting. I'm going to move on to elections. And, I'm kind of jumping through a lot of things here. I'm just back. Last week, I was kind of watching the passing scene and different things happened. And elections, of course, in Georgia, a lot there. I was disgusted in Major League Baseball moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta because, if you start boycotting a state, just think of all the people that you're hurting, right? You're not hurting the legislature. You're not hurting the Senate or the governor in that matter. You're hurting the people, right? Because the economy takes a hit because you're boycotting the state. But anyway, so I'm watching this, and a couple of things. One, when it comes to elections, I posted an interview I did with Senator Ed McBroom. And Ed is from the UP, and he chairs the Oversight Committee in the Senate. And they've been looking into election issues. And it's a very informative interview. And I'd highly suggest you watch it. And it's on this thread, so scroll down and you'll find it. But a couple of things that I thought was interesting watching this, and again, this is just passing thoughts, but with the saying that voting is being restricted, things can get spun in lots of ways. And one of the things that has always left me scratching my head is the pushback on saying you have to have a photo ID to prove who you are. And they say that that's racist, that's unfair to people of color. And I'm thinking, how hard is it to get a state ID or a driver's license? So I did a little research, and just because it's been a while, right? And to get a state ID, you have to come up with like a birth certificate, which I know not everybody has, right? I needed a birth certificate here years back. And what did I do? I sent a letter off to the clerk of the city of Detroit, and couple of 3-4 weeks later, bing, there was my birth certificate, right? So it's not impossible. It takes a little time, and it does take a little effort and maybe a stamp, but you can do it. So I really question that. Why is that an issue? And they talk about, well, it costs money and a stamp and that sort of thing. And then I got to thinking, driver's licenses. Everybody has a driver's license, right? If you're a legal citizen. So I did a little checking, and now these numbers were from 2018, so a couple years old, but they're pretty close. So Michigan has about 10 million people. Georgia has about 10 million people. So I looked, how many people in the state of Michigan have a driver's license? I'll pause for a moment. 10 million people in the state of Michigan. In Michigan, 7,153,645 people have a driver's license as of 2018. 5.5 million voted in the last election. So I'm going to say the vast majority of people that are eligible to vote have a driver's license. And getting a driver's license mustn't be that hard to get if 70% of the population has one. And to get a state legal ID is in the same ballpark. So again, some of these claims that are made about this, that, or the other thing, they might hit you in the heart and say, oh my gosh, that's terrible. But think about the facts. I remember, this is one off topic, but isn't. I remember years ago when I was on the radio, there was all the discussion of how they were just plowing under the rainforests, and the rainforests were going to disappear. And I remember thinking, and the numbers they gave, every day we bulldozed X amount of rainforest. And I thought, my God, you can see a bald patch from space. Didn't happen. Back in the old Farm Aid days, they were talking about and I'm in country music. I get farming, man. They were talking about, the number of family farms we were losing every month. And my gosh, we were losing tens and thousands. It was like there's no way we could sustain those numbers. My point is, people make up numbers. People make up things and hope that you don't follow up on it. So I would urge you, when you hear a claim, do your best. Research it. Look, find out. In Michigan, as of 2018, simple check. 7,153,645 Michiganders have driver's licenses. Picture ID. But yet, a picture ID is wrong. It's voter suppression. How? I don't know. Anyway, it's good to be back. Just some passing thoughts on last week. I'll be back with you on Wednesday. We'll see what develops and what happens. And I'll fill you in on other happenings today and tomorrow and Wednesday in my work. So we'll be back on Wednesday. Have a great evening. Hope everybody had a great Easter. Take care.